My name is Samira. I am 41 years old. I was born in Casablanca, Morocco. I work as a seamstress in a small shop near the old Medina. Every morning, I wake up before dawn. The call to prayer echoes through the narrow streets. My feet touch the cold floor. I wrap my hijab around my head. This has been my routine since I was 7 years old. My father was strict. My mother was silent. In our house, Allah's rules came before everything else. Before happiness. Before dreams. Before questions. Samira, cover yourself properly, my mother would whisper. People are watching. Our honor depends on you. I learned to pray in Arabic, words I repeated but never understood. I learned to fast during Ramadan. My stomach would ache, but I was told this pleased Allah. I learned to lower my eyes when men walked by. I learned to be invisible. But inside, something was wrong. Every Friday, I sat in the women's section of the mosque. The imam spoke about Allah's anger, about punishment, about how we must work harder to earn paradise. I listened. I nodded. But my heart felt empty. Why do I feel nothing when I pray? I thought. Why does Allah seem so far away? At night, after my family slept, I would sit by my window. I looked at the stars and wondered if Allah could see me, if He cared about the loneliness that lived inside my chest. My friends talked about marriage, about having children, about being good Muslim wives, but I wanted something more, something I couldn't name, something that felt like freedom. What is wrong with me? I asked myself. Why am I not satisfied with this blessed life? I was 25 when my parents arranged my marriage. Hassan was a good man. He prayed 5 times a day. He worked hard. He provided for me. But even in marriage, the emptiness grew. I gave birth to 2 children, Amina and Omar. I loved them deeply. But still, when I held them in my arms, I felt something was missing. Like there was a piece of my soul that had never been touched. The years passed. I became older. My hijab became tighter. The rules became heavier. But the questions in my heart became louder. Is this all there is? I whispered to myself. Prayer, fasting, fear, and empty promises. I was afraid to speak these thoughts. In Morocco, doubt is dangerous. Questions about Islam can bring shame to your family or worse, but the emptiness was growing, and soon it would become too big to ignore. The walls of my house felt smaller each day, not because the rooms had changed, but because the rules had grown thicker around me. Every morning, I helped my daughter Amina wrap her hijab. She was only 12, but already the covering was required. I watched her small fingers struggle with the fabric. Her eyes looked at me with questions she was too young to ask. "Mama, why must I hide my hair?" she whispered one day. "Because Allah commands it," I replied. The same words my mother had spoken to me, but they tasted bitter in my mouth. Hassan worked long hours at the construction site. When he came home, he was tired. We ate dinner in silence. After the children went to bed, he would read the Quran aloud. His voice was heavy with tradition. Mine was heavy with emptiness. "The Imam says women who show their beauty will burn in hell," Hassan told me one evening. "You must be more careful, Samira. Your hijab was loose today at the market." I looked down. I'm sorry, but inside I was angry. Why must I be sorry for existing? Why must every part of me be hidden, controlled, watched? At the market, other women whispered about Fatima. She lived 3 streets away. Someone had seen her talking to a Christian man. Her family was planning to send her away, to protect their honor. "She brought shame to all of us," one woman said. "May Allah forgive her sins." I bought my vegetables and walked home quickly. But Fatima's story stayed with me. What had she done? Talked to someone? Smiled? Asked a question? In the evening, I helped Omar with his studies. He was learning about jihad in school, about fighting for Islam, about dying for Allah's glory. "Mama, The teacher says Christians are enemies of God, Omar said. Is that true? I paused. That's what we are taught, I answered. But something inside me resisted the words. The Imam's sermons grew louder each Friday. He spoke about the West corrupting our youth, about women who abandoned their faith, about punishments that waited for those who strayed. Allah sees everything, he said, every thought, every doubt, every moment of weakness. I felt his words like chains around my heart. If Allah saw everything, then he saw my questions, my emptiness, my secret longing for something more. At home, I tried harder. I prayed longer. I read the Quran every night. I wore my hijab tighter. I spoke softer. I made myself smaller. But the emptiness only grew. My sister Layla visited from Rabat. She had moved there after marriage. Over tea, she spoke quietly. Samira, are you happy? The question hit me like cold water. No one had ever asked me that before. In our world, happiness was not the goal. Obedience was. I don't know, I whispered. Layla looked around to make sure we were alone. I sometimes wonder if there is more to life than this, but I'm afraid to think such thoughts. We sat in silence, two women trapped in golden cages, beautiful from the outside, empty from within. That night, I lay in bed next to Hassan. He was already asleep. I stared at the ceiling and counted my prayers like beads, but each prayer felt like another lock on my prison door. I was 40 years old. Half my life was already gone, and I had never felt truly alive. Something had to change, but I didn't know what or how. The prison was invisible, but it was real. The months passed like shadows. Same prayers, same routines, same emptiness growing deeper. I began to notice things I had never seen before. When the Imam spoke about Allah's love, his voice was cold. When he spoke about punishment, his eyes lit up. Love felt like a distant promise. Fear felt like a daily meal. Why does Allah love through fear? I wondered, but I pushed the thought away quickly. At the sewing shop, I worked quietly. My hands moved the fabric, but my mind wandered. Mrs. Zahara, my employer, was a devout woman. She prayed loudly so everyone could hear. She spoke often about paradise. Samira, you seem distracted lately, she said one afternoon. Are you fulfilling your religious duties properly? Yes, Mrs. Zahara, I replied, but my heart felt like a lie. During Ramadan that year, something changed. I fasted from sunrise to sunset as always. My stomach ached with hunger. But a different kind of hunger had awakened inside me, a hunger that food could not satisfy. While breaking my fast, I looked at my family around the table. Hassan recited prayers of gratitude. Amina and Omar ate silently. Everything looked normal. Everything looked blessed. But I felt like I was watching strangers. Allah, why do I feel so disconnected from my own life? I prayed that night, but the ceiling remained silent. I started paying attention to my prayers differently. The Arabic words I had repeated for 30 years felt empty, like sounds without meaning, like promises without power. Allahu Akbar, I said. God is great, but where was his greatness in my heart? La ilaha illa Allah, I recited. There is no God but Allah. But why did I feel like there was no God at all? The question scared me. In our community, such thoughts were dangerous. But they came anyway, like water through cracks in a wall. One evening, Hassan found me sitting by the window. I was holding my prayer beads, but I wasn't praying. What are you thinking about? He asked. Nothing important, I lied. But I was thinking about everything. About the years that had passed without joy. About prayers that felt like empty words. About a God who seemed to demand everything but give nothing back. At the mosque, I watched other women praying. Their faces looked peaceful. Mine felt like stone. Their voices sounded confident. Mine felt like whispers in the dark. What is wrong with me? I asked myself again and again. Why can't I feel what they feel? I tried harder. I woke earlier for morning prayers. I read the Quran longer. I gave more money to charity. I covered myself more carefully. Nothing changed. The emptiness was becoming hunger, not for food, not for things, but for something real, something alive, something that could touch the dead places in my soul. One night, I dreamed I was in a vast desert. I was walking and walking, searching for water. The sun was burning my skin. My throat was dry as sand. In the distance, I could see an oasis, but every time I got close, it disappeared. I woke up crying. Hassan was still asleep. The house was quiet, but inside me, something was screaming. I went to the bathroom and looked at myself in the mirror. My face looked older. My eyes looked tired, but behind the tiredness, there was something new, something desperate. I can't live like this anymore, I whispered to my reflection. There has to be more. But what was more, and where could I find it? I was 41 years old. I had followed every rule, said every prayer, worn every covering, obeyed every command, and I had never felt more lost. The hunger inside me was growing. Soon, it would be too strong to ignore. It was a Tuesday morning in October. I remember because the air was getting cooler, and I had to wear my heavier hijab. I was walking to the sewing shop through the old Medina when it happened. My chest felt tight, tighter than usual. I stopped walking and leaned against a stone wall. My breathing became shallow. The world around me started spinning. Not here, I thought. Not in the street. But my body wouldn't listen. The pain in my chest became sharp, like a knife cutting through my ribs. I tried to call for help, but no sound came out. I fell to the ground. The last thing I saw were the feet of strangers gathering around me. Then everything went black, but I wasn't unconscious. I was somewhere else. I felt my body lying on the cold stones, but I was floating above it, looking down at myself. People were shouting in Arabic. Someone was checking my pulse. A woman was crying, "Call an ambulance!" But I couldn't move back into my body. Suddenly, I was pulled into a tunnel. Not by my choice. Something was dragging me deeper and deeper into darkness. The walls of the tunnel were black, but I could hear voices, horrible voices. "You prayed to nothing," they whispered. "You wasted your life following lies. Allah doesn't exist," another voice hissed. "You served emptiness for 41 years. I tried to scream, but no sound came. Invisible hands were pulling me down, down, down. The voices became louder. "You belong to us now," they said. "Welcome to your real eternal home." Terror filled every part of me. This wasn't what I had been taught. Where was the peaceful transition to paradise? Where was the reward for my faithful prayers? I was falling into hell. The heat began to surround me. Not the heat of Morocco's sun, but something that burned from the inside. The voices turned into laughter. Cruel, mocking laughter. "Your imam lied to you," they said. "Your Quran deceived you. Allah never heard your prayers because Allah is not real." I was screaming now, but still no sound came out. Then something changed. A light appeared in the distance, not the flickering light of candles or lamps. This light was alive. It was moving toward me, pushing back the darkness. The evil voices started screaming, not in victory, but in fear. "No!" they shouted. "She belongs to us! We had her first!" But the light kept coming, getting brighter, getting closer. And as it approached, I felt something I had never experienced before. Love, real love, not the conditional love of my family, not the distant love promised by Islam, but love that had no conditions. Love that knew everything about me and accepted everything about me. The light took the shape of a man. He was tall, wearing clothes whiter than any white I had ever seen. His hair was like fire, but soft. His eyes burned like stars, but they were full of tenderness. He reached out his hand toward me. Samira, he said. His voice was like music and thunder at the same time. I knew immediately who he was, even though I had been taught he was a false prophet. Even though I had been told he was the enemy of Islam, this was Jesus. "I've been calling you," he said. "For years, I've been calling your name." The evil voices were screaming louder now, but they sounded far away. The light around Jesus was pushing them back into the darkness. "But I'm Muslim," I whispered. "I don't belong to you." Jesus smiled, and in that smile, I saw all the love I had been searching for my entire life. "You belong to me because I created you," he said. "I died for you. I rose again for you. I've been waiting for you to see the truth." He touched my forehead with his finger. Suddenly, I could see everything clearly. I saw the lies I had believed. I saw the emptiness of the religion I had followed. I saw the deception that had kept me in chains for 41 years. But I also saw something else. I saw Jesus on a cross, dying for me, a Muslim woman from Morocco who had never believed in him. "Why?" I asked through tears that felt like light itself. "Because I love you," he said simply, "and I want you to know real life." The darkness was gone now. We were standing in a place of pure light. I felt cleaner than I had ever felt, lighter than I had ever felt, free. "I have to send you back now," Jesus said. "Your time on earth isn't finished yet." "I don't want to go back," I said. "I want to stay here with you." "You will," he promised. "But first, you must tell others what you have seen. You must show them the way out of the darkness." Before I could say anything else, I was back in my body. I woke up in the hospital. Machines were beeping around me. Hassan was sitting beside my bed, his face pale with worry. Amina and Omar stood behind him, their eyes red from crying. "Samira, you're awake," Hassan whispered. "The doctors said you had a heart attack. We almost lost you." I tried to speak, but my throat was dry. A nurse gave me water. As I drank, everything came back to me. The tunnel, the voices, Jesus. "How long was I unconscious?" I asked. 6 hours, Hassan said. "Your heart stopped for 3 minutes. The doctor said it was a miracle you came back." A miracle. If only he knew. The doctor explained that I needed rest, no stress, no heavy work. They sent me home after 2 days with medications and warnings. But home felt different now. Everything looked the same. The prayer rugs, the Quran on the shelf, the pictures of Mecca on the walls. But I saw them differently, like decorations in a play that wasn't real. The first time Hassan called for evening prayer, I hesitated. "Samira, come," he said. "We need to thank Allah for saving your life." I knelt beside him on the prayer rug. But as we began to recite the Arabic words, my heart was somewhere else. I was thinking about Jesus, about his eyes, about the love I had felt. "Allahu Akbar," Hassan said. "God is great," I whispered. But I was thinking about a different God. Over the next weeks, I tried to act normal. I cooked. I cleaned. I wore my hijab. I went to the mosque on Fridays. But inside, everything had changed. I started paying attention to things I had never noticed before. The imam's harsh words about Christians, the way women were treated like property, the fear that lived in everyone's eyes. At the sewing shop, Mrs. Zahara was suspicious. "You seem different since your heart attack," she said one afternoon. "Are you reading the Quran every day? Are you grateful to Allah for sparing your life?" "Yes," I lied. But I was reading different words now. In my mind, I repeated what Jesus had said. "I am the way, the truth, and the life." I began to pray secretly, not the 5 daily prayers of Islam, but conversations with Jesus, in the bathroom, in the kitchen when no one was looking, walking to work in the early morning. "Jesus," I would whisper, "help me understand. Help me know what to do." And slowly, I felt him answering, not in voices, but in peace, in small moments of joy, in a warmth that filled my chest when I thought his name. But my family began to notice changes. "Mama, you don't sing the Islamic songs anymore," Amina said one day. "You seem distracted during prayers," Omar added. Hassan watched me more carefully. At dinner, he asked questions. "The Imam says some people lose their faith after near-death experiences," he said. "Satan tries to confuse them, to steal their devotion to Allah." I nearly choked on my food. "That's not happening to me," I said quickly. But Hassan's eyes stayed on my face, searching. One evening, I made a mistake. I was washing dishes and humming. I didn't realize what I was humming until Hassan appeared behind me. "What song is that?" he asked sharply. My blood turned cold. It was a melody I had heard in my vision, something that felt like worship, but not to Allah. I don't know. Just something I heard at the market. Hassan grabbed my arm. "Samira, look at me. Are you hiding something from me?" I looked into his eyes, the same eyes that had loved me for 16 years, but now they were filled with suspicion. "No," I whispered. "I'm not hiding anything." He studied my face for a long moment. Then he let go of my arm. That night, I heard him making phone calls, quiet conversations in the next room. I couldn't hear the words, but I knew he was asking about me, checking on me. The next Friday, after mosque, Hassan's brother Rashid visited us. He was more religious than Hassan, stricter. He had studied Islamic law. "Samira," Rashid said after dinner, "Hassan tells me you've been acting strangely since your illness." "I'm fine," I said, but my hands were shaking. "Sometimes," Rashid continued, "when people nearly die, they become confused. They start believing lies. Satan uses their weakness to lead them away from Islam." He looked directly into my eyes. "If someone in this family were to abandon Islam, it would bring shame to all of us. Do you understand?" "Yes," I whispered. "Good. Because abandoning Islam is not just about losing paradise. In some places, it means losing your life." The threat was clear. That night, I lay in bed next to Hassan. He was asleep, but I was wide awake. Fear and faith were fighting inside my chest. "Jesus," I prayed silently. "They're watching me. They suspect something. What should I do?" In the darkness, I felt his presence, gentle but strong. "Do not be afraid," came the answer in my heart. "I am with you, even in the valley of the shadow of death." I had never heard those words before, but they filled me with peace. But I knew the persecution was just beginning. The surveillance got worse. Hassan started coming home for lunch unexpectedly. He would ask the neighbors if they had seen me talking to anyone strange. He checked my phone. He listened to my conversations. Mrs. Zahara questioned me daily at the sewing shop. "Samira, you didn't say Bismillah before starting work today," she said. "Are you forgetting your Islamic manners?" I was forgetting, but not by accident. The words of Islam felt like poison in my mouth now. Every time I tried to say them, I remembered Jesus' face, his love, his truth. At home, Rashid visited more often. He would sit in our living room and talk about apostates, about people who betrayed Islam. His stories always ended the same way, with death. "In Pakistan last month," he said one evening, "a woman converted to Christianity. Her own family killed her to restore their honor." He looked directly at me. "Islam is not just a religion, Samira. It's our identity, our blood, our life." Hassan nodded. "Anyone who abandons Islam abandons their family." That night, I couldn't sleep. I went to the bathroom and locked the door. I sat on the floor and wept silently. "Jesus," I whispered. "I can't live like this anymore, pretending, lying, hiding who I really am." "I know," came the answer in my heart. "You don't have to pretend anymore. But they'll kill me if they find out. And if they do, you'll come home to me? But don't be afraid. I have work for you to do." I felt peace flooding my heart. Strange peace. The kind of peace that doesn't make sense when your life is in danger. The next morning was Friday, mosque day. As we prepared to leave, something inside me snapped. I couldn't do it anymore. "Hassan," I said quietly, "I'm not feeling well. I think I should stay home." His eyes narrowed. "You missed mosque 2 weeks ago because of a headache, and last week because of your stomach. I'm sorry. I just—" "You're coming," he said firmly. "Whatever is wrong with you, prayer will fix it." At the mosque, I sat in the women's section. The imam was preaching about loyalty to Islam, about the punishment of traitors. "Allah sees into every heart," he said. "He knows who serves him truly and who serves him with lies." The women around me nodded and said, "Amin." But I sat in silence. When the imam called for prayer, everyone stood. I stood too. But when they bowed toward Mecca, I couldn't do it. I just stood there. The woman next to me whispered, "Samira, bow down." I looked at her. Then I looked around at all the covered women bowing to the floor, submitting to something that felt empty. "I can't," I whispered back. She stared at me in shock. I walked out of the mosque. Hassan found me outside, pacing by the entrance. "Oh, what are you doing?" he demanded. "I can't pray to Allah anymore," I said. The words came out before I could stop them. Hassan's face turned white, then red. "What did you say?" "I said I can't pray to Allah anymore." He grabbed my arm and pulled me away from the other families leaving the mosque. "Samira, you're sick. Your heart attack damaged your brain." "You don't know what you're saying." "I know exactly what I'm saying." "Then you're possessed by devils. We need to take you to someone who can help you." That evening, Hassan called a meeting. Rashid came. So did my father, and Hassan's father. 5 men sitting in our living room, deciding my fate. I was sent to the kitchen with Amina, but I could hear everything. "She refused to pray today," Hassan said. "She's been acting strange for weeks," Rashid added. "This is serious," my father said. "If she's losing her faith, it will bring shame to both our families." They talked for 2 hours, about doctors, about religious counselors, about sending me away to get better. But I knew there was no cure for what I had. I had seen the truth, and I couldn't unsee it. That night, after everyone left, I waited until Hassan was asleep. Then I went to the roof of our house. The stars were bright above Casablanca, the same stars I had looked at as a child, wondering if Allah could see me. Now I knew a different God was watching. I knelt down on the concrete roof and looked up at the sky. "Jesus," I said out loud for the first time. "I can't pretend anymore. I can't live a lie. I don't care what happens to me." I took a deep breath. "I believe you died for me. I believe you rose from the dead. I believe you are the way to the Father." Tears were streaming down my face. "May I give you my life, all of it, whatever is left. I surrender everything to you." The moment I said those words, something changed inside me. The fear disappeared. The weight lifted off my shoulders. I felt light, clean, free. I stayed on that roof for hours, talking to Jesus, thanking him, asking him to forgive all my years of blindness. When I finally went back to bed, Hassan was still sleeping, but I was completely awake. For the first time in 41 years, I was truly alive. Tomorrow, I would face whatever came, but tonight, I belonged to Jesus, and nothing else mattered. The next morning, Hassan knew something had changed. He looked at my face across the breakfast table and saw something different. Peace, maybe, or determination. "We're taking you to the religious counselor today," he announced. "No," I said quietly. "I won't go." "Samira." I said no. "Hassan." For 16 years of marriage, I had never refused him anything. He stared at me in shock. "Then you're choosing to leave this family," he said. "I'm choosing to follow Jesus." The words hung in the air like thunder. Hassan stood up slowly. "Pack your things. You have 1 hour." Amina started crying. Omar looked confused. I hugged them both, knowing it might be the last time. "Mama, where are you going?" Amina whispered. I'm going to follow the truth, I said. And maybe one day, you'll understand. I packed a small bag, some clothes, the money I had saved from sewing, nothing else. Hassan drove me to the bus station in silence. Before I got out, he spoke one last time. If you change your mind, if you come back to Islam, you can come home. I won't change my mind, I said. He drove away without looking back. I bought a ticket to Rabat. I didn't know why. I just felt Jesus leading me there. On the bus, I prayed, Jesus, I have nowhere to go. No family, no friends, no plan. But I trust you. In Rabat, I found a small room to rent. The landlady was an old Christian woman named Miriam. She had fled Algeria years ago because of her faith. You look lost, child, she said when I knocked on her door. I just gave my life to Jesus, I said. My family kicked me out. Miriam's eyes filled with tears. She hugged me like a mother. You're home now, she said. Miriam taught me about the Bible, about prayer, about what it really means to follow Jesus. She introduced me to other believers, secret Christians from Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, people who had paid the same price I had paid. We met in homes, in quiet places. We sang songs I had never heard. We prayed in languages I understood. We shared stories of how Jesus had found us. For the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged somewhere. I found work at a textile factory. The pay was small, but I was happy. Real happiness, not the fake contentment I had pretended to feel as a Muslim. Every morning, I wake up and thank Jesus for saving me, for showing me the truth, for giving me real life. I've been living in Rabat for 2 years now. I haven't seen my children since the day I left. It breaks my heart, but I pray for them every day. I pray that one day, Jesus will reveal himself to them too. Sometimes I get messages from other Muslim women, women who are searching, women who feel the same emptiness I felt. I share my story with them. Some listen, some get angry, some disappear. But a few find Jesus. There's Fatima from Fes. She had a dream about Jesus 3 times before she believed. There's Khadija from Meknes. She heard his voice during prayer. There's Aisha from Marrakech. She saw a miracle that only Jesus could do. We encourage each other. We pray together. We remind each other that the suffering is temporary, but the joy is eternal. I know my family thinks I'm lost. They think I've been deceived by Satan. They think I've brought shame to our name, but I've never been more found. I forgive them. I love them. And I pray that one day they will see what I see, feel what I feel, know what I know. Jesus is real. He died for Muslims too. He rose from the dead for Muslims too. He loves Muslims too. The Quran couldn't save me. The Imam couldn't save me. My good works couldn't save me. Only Jesus could save me. If you're reading this and you're Muslim, I want you to know something. Jesus loves you, not because of what you do, not because of how you pray, not because of how you dress. He loves you because he made you, and he died for you. You don't have to earn his love. You just have to accept it. I'm not asking you to leave your family. I'm not asking you to move to another city. I'm just asking you to open your heart to the truth. Ask Jesus to reveal himself to you. Ask him to show you if he's real. He will answer. Maybe not the way he answered me, but he will answer. And when he does, you'll never be the same. My name is Samira. I'm 43 years old. I live in Rabat, Morocco. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I was dead, but now I'm alive. I was lost, but now I'm found. I was empty, but now I'm full. Jesus gave me a new life, and he can give you one too.